I saw that bothered me were the names of at least 6 men that have been redacted that are likely incriminated by their inclusion in these files. So that's the first thing that I saw. It took some digging to find them. Then I'll let you talk about what you saw.
Well, and we discussed that. I mean, there are 6 men, some of them with their photographs that have been redacted, and there's no explanation why.
Well, there's no good explanation, Congressman Khanna. There's an explanation as to why Trump and the DOJ, his personal lawyers, that whole disgusting pile there, would choose to redact the names and the photos of men who are not victims, but apparently appear in the Epstein files. It's because they don't want those people to suffer any consequences. They've never wanted them to suffer any consequences. That's the only thing they actually care about in this whole big mess, is protecting the powerful men. As John Ossoff has taken to calling it, it is the Epstein class. That's who they're protecting. The whole QAnon thing, that was a psyop. That's all it was, to get you on board with a movement that was explicitly designed to protect the powerful, economic, politically connected elites who are going around Jeffrey Epstein and committing horrendous acts. And now, thankfully, because they keep pushing and keep pushing and keep pushing, Massie and Khanna have identified 6 potential men. Now, they can't just come out and say it right now. There are legal consequences of that, even though there should be a lot of legal consequences to go around, because I'll remind you, none of that stuff was supposed to be redacted in the first place. It is literally a violation of the law that Congress passed to do that. But Pam Bondi is just continuing to be in violation of the law literally every day as a result of that. And so the good thing is that with the even more pushing, some Congress people have gotten some limited unredacted access. That's how we're finding out this stuff. So let's jump into a little bit more of what they've learned. Massie says there are 6 men, some of them with photographs that have been redacted. There's no explanation, as we said. He added that at least one of the 6 men was a US citizen, and at least one was foreign, but declined to reveal their names. I probably should do that from the floor or in a committee hearing, Massie said. And it's a common trick that they're now using, where you say it on the floor and you're protected from civil and criminal liability. So it's a way that you could actually do it. And remember, Marjorie Greene had said that she might name names on the House floor so she couldn't get in any legal trouble. Weird that she didn't do that and she just left instead rather than actually doing a thing. She did say some things, to her limited credit. But as we've pointed out, the redactions are a real problem. And now the limited access to the unredacted files, also a pretty big problem, as will be described here by Jamie Raskin.
What Congress called for was a complete release of the files and just the redaction of the names of the victims. Now, unfortunately, the names of the victims were not redacted, relating to more than 100 women in the case. So that is baffling and staggering that would happen. But then there are thousands and thousands of pages replete with redactions. There are entire pages and memos where you can't see anything. It's all blacked out, and there are no names of victims in there. So it's just a very puzzling thing, and the Department of Justice needs to explain it. The whole country should be able to read what this federal law compelled them to produce.
Yeah, and so it's weird that we have to compel them to do stuff that they're already legally required to do. But part of the problem, part of why the DOJ thinks they can get away with this, is that the Republicans are still, other than like Thomas Massie and 1 or 2 others, doing everything they can to stop any justice from being achieved and trying to distract us in a million different ways. Remember, James Comer, he's on the job. He's got Bill and Hillary coming in. Hillary's literally not even in the files. Bill, good, drag him in, ask him some questions. And then drag Trump in 1,000 times more because he appears 1,000 times more, but he doesn't want to do that. This is all about distracting. It's coming up with something you can talk about to make it seem as if you're talking about Jeffrey Epstein without actually talking about the people that might have committed crimes along with him. That's Alex Jones's trick that we showed you last week, talking about Zorn Mamdani being Epstein's son. See? He still takes the pedophilia seriously, totally seriously. But anyway, here's how bad it is. Here's the scale of the challenge that people like Raskin, Massie, and Khanna are up against. So Jamie Raskin says the DOJ is giving members of Congress 4 computers in a satellite office to read the unredacted Epstein file of more than 3 million documents. Working 40 hours a week on nothing else but this, it would take more than 7 years for the 217 members who signed the House discharge petition to read just the documents they've decided to release so far, and that's only half of them. This is what a cover-up looks like. Well, we've got, at this point, I think a pretty good idea of what the cover-up looks like. It's everything. It's all of this stuff. And so I told you that the Republicans aren't really playing ball except for a couple, but like they're not just not playing ball. They are spitting in your face. They are delighting in how little so many of them, especially the Republican men, how little they care about anything like justice. So here is GOP Senator Marino asked about one of the victims.
Jamie Raskin reviewed the unredacted Epstein files earlier and said that there was a 9-year-old that's been a victim now that he saw for the files. Like,
who said that?
Jamie Raskin. There are a bunch of House oversight folks who are seeing the unredacted files.
Is that the guy with the really bad haircut?
Is that the guy with the really bad haircut? I don't really care about Jamie Raskin's hair. I imagine most people don't. I don't think it really plays into whether he's doing a good job either in general or specifically in regard to the Epstein files. I don't know how many of the survivors of Epstein and his co-conspirators care about whether Jamie Raskin has a bitchin' haircut or not. I don't think that they care. I don't think that the 9-year-old victim, now older, maybe not that old still, would give a damn. Why, Senator Marino, is that the thing that you think matters? Like, is Raskin wrong? Is there not a 9-year-old victim? Then say that, assuming that you actually care enough about this story to actually read any of the files. Or if he's right, why is it that your first reaction was not to push for justice or even like, okay, you don't actually want justice, but you're at least savvy enough to know that you're supposed to express some faux sympathy for the 9-year-old who suffered at the hands of these grotesque predators? He doesn't even do that. He skips right over that to attacking Jamie Raskin. You can, if you're a Republican congressman or whatever, or a senator in this case, you can not like Jamie Raskin. I don't see what problem you can have with him that you would be comfortable articulating. And the reason I don't see it is he's not comfortable articulating it. Marino doesn't actually want to say why he's mad at Raskin. I suspect it's because Raskin is actually doing his job, and Marino doesn't like a dark mirror being held up to him. He doesn't like it being pointed out that there are other men, there are other people, including other men, who are actually doing something about this. No, for the rest of them, it's a goddamn joke. So Marino wants to know what's with his hair. Donald Trump asked about the victims, wants to know why Caitlin Collins doesn't smile. They don't even think they need to pretend to not be covering this up. They're emboldened to do it as explicitly as any government cover-up has ever been bungled and mismanaged in American history.
If you enjoyed that, make sure that you never miss another video by subscribing. And if you want a little more, consider hitting the join button and becoming an actual member. But you're probably wondering, why the hell would I do that, John? First off, calm down. The stakes in this are very, very low. But also, when you click the join button and you become a member, you get access to bonus content that I make every week, and it's a ton of fun. You get access to tons of custom emojis and more besides that. By the way, if you join at tier 3, you even get access to a monthly member hangout with myself and other awesome people, and we always have a great time. By the way, you'll get all that going forward, but you also unlock years of the back catalog. That is literally 100 or more bonus clips, top 10 lists, debates, and more. What are you waiting for? Click the join button below. Your support powers our show, and we couldn't do it without you. Or at the very least, I wouldn't really want to try. Viewers like you keep me here. So thank you in advance for joining.